shifts for channels currently on TV. You could earn up to £400 a day and you don't need experience. We're holding auditions in London. Calls cost £1.50 a minute and last for approximately 5 minutes. So to register for your place, call now on 0906 507 9911. That's 0906 507 9911.
Peace be Public Enemy, I'm Professor Griff.
And I'm Chuck D.
And you're watching Groove TV.
My favorite TV show.
Groove TV.
A massive hip-hop event.
Listen to this.
Groove TV, enough love people, you don't know, stay tuned.
Listen to this. Listen to this. For all you MCs. We're going to bring you some of the hottest videos, the freshest artists, and everything else you want in urban music. This is what we want y'all to do.
Stay tuned, keep it locked on Rapture TV, okay?
Yes.
Welcome to Gamers, where we've got everything from retro action right through to unreleased next-gen stuff.
In fact, you might see a whole spectrum of gaming action.
Kate, don't give everything away that's coming up on the show. That's voiceover man's job.
All right then, let the poor boy speak.
Thanks, Kate. Loving your work. Coming up on today's show, we unearth a retro console from the 80s, we preview the forthcoming 360 game Full Auto, and Matt and Kate give you their penny's worth on the latest titles around.
He's getting very cheeky all of a sudden, isn't he? Anyway, the first game up today is in the form of an Agatha Christie adventure story.
Who done it?
Adventure Company.
No, I wasn't asking who made the game. I was asking what sort of Agatha Christie story it was.
Oh, I see. It's an Agatha Christie whodunit.
Oh,
type of affair. Indeed. Now, this is called And Then There Were None. And Then There Were None is one of the most popular Agatha Christie stories. I'm going to let you play it as you're sitting closer to the computer there, Matt. Now, it's been made, obviously, into all sorts of different types of stories, like films and all that kind of thing. And this is the first time it's ever been seen as a game. Now, you follow this guy called Patrick, who arrives on the island. He's delivered 10 guests to this mystery island to stay in this mansion for the weekend. And Patrick is definitely an innocent party to the whole whodunit mystery because he was drafted in at the last minute.
Lucky old Patrick.
So he's definitely innocent. Of course, the guests arrive there and people start to die. Surprise, surprise. And the whole premise is that Patrick has to find out who did it and save the girl that he loves and get as many guests off the island as he possibly can while they're still alive. It looks pretty good, doesn't it?
It looks okay, yeah. I mean, what they've done here is, it's a standard point-and-click adventure. If you've ever played Monkey Island or any of those sort of previous games like that, this is similar, but they put it right into full 3D now, so everyone's, even though they do look a bit odd, because it's a sort of an Agatha Christie story, it looks almost like they brought a book to life.
It does. I mean, when you do your point and click, as you said, because you have to touch the screen so little, it almost kind of looks like a film or something because it does take over. It's value for money. It's 20 hours worth of gaming action, and partially one of the reasons that's because there's 4 different endings and also an ending which is true to the actual And Then There Were None story, if that makes sense, if you're a die-hard Agatha Christie fan.
I'm not.
I'm not either, but I just thought I would tell everybody for information. We might have viewers who are.
Indeed, we may do.
Catering for all.
Hi out there, if you like Agatha Christie.
I did really enjoy it. I think it looks really nice, and also I think the fact that it's got that kind of old, I think it's 1939 kind of setting, it does lend it to looking really nice, because the kind of style just really looks fantastic on this game.
It does. I mean, one thing I'd say is if there aren't many point-and-click adventures on the PC at the moment, so if you're into it and you really want to play one, this is probably one of the only ones you're going to be able to play recently. However, it does feel a bit unfinished. There's points where he's opening doors and stuff, and he's nowhere near them, and it just doesn't look right. It looks a bit unfinished, so...
And Patrick is awfully posh, so he spends the whole time going, this door's locked. It's locked hard. It's locked fast. Ooh, it's locked tight. Sounds a bit like a naughty movie sometimes.
It does a bit, yes.
I'm going to give it a 7.
I'm going to give it a 6, because although I do like point-and-click adventures, I think it could have looked a lot better, and as I say, it feels a bit unfinished. So, that's that done with. Right, should we move on to something a bit more hard and fast and loose? Let's move on to Ridge Racer. This is Ridge Racer 6. It's been around for yonks, the Ridge Racer series, but how does it fare on the Xbox 360, I hear you ask?
I didn't. I was sitting here.
Well, fair enough. It was a rhetorical question, actually. I was just saying, you know, how's it fair? And then I was going to go into my review.
Fair enough. So what is it like on the Xbox 360, Matt?
Right, I will tell you what it's like. If you've ever played a Ridge Racer game, it's standard Ridge Racer fare. All you've got to do is make your way to the finish line as quick as possible and through those checkpoints as well. You can select from a number of cars. They're not real cars, they're all made up, so if you're one of these people that goes, I want to drive a Nissan Skyline, I'm afraid you're not going to be able to do it here. The tracks are also completely made up. You've even got things like dinosaurs walking around on them and stuff, so it's real arcadey stuff with this. It says there's about 200 tracks. In reality, you've actually got a number of tracks that then repeat or get mirrored, so that's a bit of a lie. We've got a few cars to choose from. They look nice. What I have to say, I'm a bit disappointed. It's on the Xbox 360. Some of the terrain is awful. When you drive past some of the rocks and stuff, they look really flat and just horrible and not very colourful. If you've seen Project Gotham 3, you'll know how well you can make a racing game look. I know Namco have gone for complete arcade thrills here, but it'd be nice that it would look fantastic on the Xbox 360. Another thing about it as well, you've got the power slide feature in there, so when you power slide around, something new to Ridge Racer fans is the nitrous, so you can actually boost your car around the tracks. Weirdly enough, it doesn't look like you're going around that quick, even though it's all about thrills and spills.
Although funny, because when we're watching this at the moment, this does look really fast.
It does, the replays look fine, yeah. I mean, if you ever played any of the Gran Turismo games, you'll know that they always tweak it, they cheat slightly on the replays
So it looks
and
slightly
make it
better.
look slightly better, yeah.
So what are you going to award it?
You know what, I'm going to give it a 6. I prefer the Burnout sort of games. I can't wait to see a Burnout game on the Xbox 360. It gets a 6 for me. It's good, but could be better.
I'm going to copy you and give it a 6 as well.
Fair enough, you big copycat.
Now Matt, I am really excited this week because this time the console, you know.
That can only mean...
It's retro time.
Actually, it's not a console.
Yes, technically speaking, it's a home computer system. It's the Sinclair Spectrum. Now, this is one of the later versions when Amstrad started making it. It's 128k, no less.
128k. You can
Wow.
barely send an email for that nowadays, can you?
That's true. Now, we've got Jetpack for this and Horace and the Spiders.
We have, and we've also got Chase HQ. Okay, Kate, you're ready. I'm going to put this cassette in. Strap yourself in. We're going to load it up.
I can't wait.
Here we go. Kate, it's loaded! It's loaded!
Oh my
It's
gosh!
loaded!
Never!
Yeah, it's loaded! Brilliant! I'm going to stop being silly and just take this beard off. It's loaded eventually.
That suits you, actually.
It does. You like it. Looks good on you as well. The great thing about the Sinclair Spectrum, well, the not so good thing, it was waiting for the games to load because it did take a long time, as you can see. We've gone grey waiting for the games to load. Oh, you're taking yours off completely.
You just look a bit silly now.
I quite like the wig. I'm going to keep it on. And that was it. You put it in. You hit load, quote, quote. You put your game in. It will go bleep, 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 and then the loading screen would come up. It would load itself up. You'd go away and make a cup of tea, you'd come back and it would say, tape loading error. And you'd go, I've got to do it again. Because these tapes aren't very robust. Look at Horace and the Spiders here.
Until I saw this, I had forgotten it was possible to have a game that was on a tape.
On a tape. It looks really archaic nowadays, but they were great fun at the time. I remember going down the store and looking for games you could get for £1.99.
That's something you could actually spend your pocket money on.
You could spend your pocket money. A company called
full game.
Mastertronic would make them, and you could get £1.99 budget games. A full price game, heaven forbid, was a tenner. Nowadays, it's 50 quid, 40 quid, isn't it, for a full price game? What do you think of the graphics, Kate?
The graphics are, well, watching them now, they're kind of comedic, aren't they? They're hilarious.
Yes.
At the time, they didn't seem that bad.
They didn't seem too bad at the time.
No. Playing it now, what is hilarious, I think, particularly, is the sound effects. It kind of sounds like dull farting or a washing machine.
Yes, in
or
Chase HQ, definitely. And completely unplayable as well. The collision detection's awful. I don't know how I ever played the game. Do you actually like the machine itself?
I have to be honest, until we had this today, I don't remember it.
Do you not?
I don't remember it.
You're a little younger than me. I just about remember it.
The one that I remember, the first one I remember is the Commodore 64.
Yeah, that came out just after this, I do believe.
So unfortunately, I've missed the boat on this one.
But isn't it weird? They've sort of gone full circle, because this, okay, you've got a computer inside a keyboard, and now Apple make computers that are inside either the monitor or the keyboard and not separate. So it's sort of gone full circle.
Obviously, where they pinched the idea from.
They've pinched the idea from the ZX Spectrum. Thank you, Mr. Sinclair. And Mr. Sinclair was a guy, bald guy with glasses, looked like the classic computer geek, and I think that's where the looks come from, to be honest.
Is that your grandfather?
What, Mr. Sinclair? No, my surname's Cuttle. Matt Cuttle, don't ever forget it. Now, the next game we were going to review was called Lula 3D. Unfortunately, I took it home and realised it's a little bit too adult to show on this show. So we're going from one chick to another. Disney's Chicken Little. Much more wholesome and family, isn't it?
Aww.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep this one for later. So you play as Chicken Little. It's a platform game made by the same people that made the TAC game. So you get to run about, there's climbing, there's running. There's also lots of mini games in this as well. It feels a little bit like the TAC games, but you've got that camera angle issue again with it, that sometimes the camera's moving about in 3D and you fall off things and you can't make the jumps you want to make, which can be quite annoying, can't it? It can be frustrating. In this though, you have got a lot of clips from the movie, so if you do like the movie, you've probably got more clips than you'd expect actually, so a good amount of cutscenes in there for you to play with, and some of the mini games are great. I mean, you get to first find yourself a soda bottle so you can get into school because you're late for school. You get to strap it on your back and use it as a jetpack, and then you get a little mini game going on.
He's just so cute.
He's tiny little chicken. You get a dodgeball game in there as well, very near the start, and also a game where you're sledging through the school corridors and you've got to avoid all the lockers that are falling down as well. So lots to do in it, really. I mean, what do you think about the way it looks?
Well, that's the game that I was playing, the one where all the lockers are falling down and everything. It's quite fast moving. I didn't expect that for a game that I suppose I thought was going to be very kiddie-ish.
Yeah, it can be quite challenging, this game at times. It really can. Do you like the look of it? Do you like the little chicken?
Well, it does look nice because it looks like the film. And therefore it can't fail.
No.
I mean, although it's made, I think it actually looks much better than TAC did, although I know what you're saying about it is very similar.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the same sort of engine they've used for that. Very cute, very funny in places as well. You know, it's got all the voices and all the characters and stuff moving about and jumping around. Good fun, this. I really liked it. I'm going to give it, because, again, it's quite a sort of platform game by numbers, but the mini-games do help it. I'm going to give it 7. I think it's a very good attempt at a movie licence, and usually they're rubbish.
I'm going to give it an 8, purely because I was seduced by the cuteness of it all.
Oh, you're cute.
Now, it is almost to head off, or time rather, to head off to the adverts, but before we do, it's time to tell you out there how you can win things.
That's right, it's this week's Gamers Competition.
On this week's Gamers Competition, you could win a PS2 and a copy of Ford Street Racing by answering this lovely simple question. Which of these cars is a Ford? Is it A, Fiesta, B, Party, or C, Sleepover? Just text Gamers plus your answer, A, B or C, to 63222. Good luck.
Okay, you know the drill by now. We go away, lots of people try and sell you things, and then we come back and you're still here. Sound like a good plan?
Works for me.
Please pledge just £2 a month to the...
Those lovely guys at Sega. I'm here in a very swanky PR office in London to tell you guys about a new game called Full Auto for the Xbox 360. Now, I've got the press release here, but hey, who needs a white piece of paper? We've got Grant, the UK product manager for Sega, here to tell us in person about the game. So Grant, it's a racing game. What's different about this compared to other ones people may have played before?
Full Auto brings you these massive guns which are attached to your roof, the bonnet. You've got some grenade launchers at the front and the back, depending what configuration you use. That's just one of many different features.
Is everything destructible in the game?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everything you can see in full auto you can destruct, and that's one of the benefits that 360's enabled us to do. So everything you can see you can blow up, from bridges to trains to clock towers, and obviously all your competitors on the course as well.
You can sort of reverse time, sort of Prince of Persia style. If Prince of Persia had a car, he may be able to do this. Could you just explain a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, no worries. This is called the unwreck feature. Basically, as you go through the game, the more destruction you cause, your unwreck bar gets charged up. And this enables you to have a second go at correcting those errors you made the first time round. So if I turn a corner and I do a nice handbrake turn and I hit another parked car, I can unwreck time and have a second go, knowing that that car's parked there. I can completely avoid it and carry on.
Well, thanks, Grant, for talking to us today. If you like wreckage, you like carnage, and you like doing it while you're driving, Full Auto's your game.
Now, Matt, a few weeks ago, I was given Condemned on the Xbox 360, which was pretty scary stuff. I don't know what the producers are trying to do to me here, because they gave me another psychological thriller this week in the form of Project 03, and quite frankly, I think I'm going to have to start invoicing them for my underwear.
It's bicycle clip time for you, Kate.
Too much, maybe. Now, the main character is Ria. I'm going to have to look at this. Kursawa. Of course, who has visions of her dead fiancé and a tattoo which is strangely spreading all over her body.
Cheery stuff.
Now,
then.
this is the third in the series of these games. It's quite good because quite a few loose ends are tied up in this one, and also there's the introduction of quite a few new characters. Ria is a freelance photographer who is sent to this haunted house because, surprisingly enough, they think it's haunted, and she thinks that she sees her ex-fiancé, who strangely is dead. So she spends the whole game trying to take pictures of these kind of tortured souls. You don't really know why they're so tortured and why they can't seem to leave her alone.
Sounds like a spooky one. So it's basically a survival horror game, isn't it? Like
it is.
Resident Evil or Alone in the Dark or something like that.
The very one. Now, let me tell you, it's a long survival horror game. It's 30 hours long about.
That's quite
or that or thereabouts.
It's got a lot of hours gameplay there.
It has a lot of hours gameplay. Now, something that is very frustrating about this is the static camera angle. You find yourself in all sorts of narrow corridors and all that kind of stuff, and you just get completely stuck because you can't see anything, so you can't see when baddies are coming to get you or anything like that, so you're quite scuppered, really.
It needs to move on a bit, because I remember in the old Resident Evil games that was okay, right? And Resident Evil 4, if you played that, has moved on, it's all full 3D, and they're still stuck with it, and it's all gone a bit ghostly, you see. It's a bit weird.
It's very strange.
A bit.
Also, another thing that's very frustrating is it's such a slow turning circle when you're using the controls.
Again, it's just like an old survival horror game, isn't it? I think they should... come on, she looks like a lively young lady. She should be able to hop, skip and jump, not walk around in circles really slowly. Ooh.
Yeah, it is. I mean, having said that, it's a pretty addictive game. You do want to play it all the time, and you do find yourself lying in bed at night going, what's that noise? What's under my bed?
You've got to take photos, and then another annoying thing about it, which annoyed me, is the ghosts. Sometimes it's difficult to see where they are or where they're coming from, and they come and get you through no fault of your own. But it's good fun. I mean, it's very atmospheric, isn't it? So I think if you're into survival horror games, this is going to be good fodder for you.
Good fodder?
Fodder, food.
Oh, right, okay. Get ya. What are you going to give it?
I'm going to give this a... bearing in mind Resident Evil 4 was really good, I'm going to give this a 6. Good, but could do better.
Okay, I'm going to give it a 6 as well. I do enjoy being scared. So, solid 6, not bad.
That's why you sit next to me, isn't it, Kate? Right, moving on to basketball. It's never really taken off in the UK over here, has it?
No, and that's even despite Dennis Rodman's recent appearance in Celebrity Big Brother.
Well, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
What is it? What is it? Let me just hit you because you don't want me. Let me just hit you.
Now, in fact, replicating Big Brother stars coming over to the UK could be your thing. Then you might like this game. It's NBA 2K6 in 2006. It's already on the sort of current gen consoles. Obviously, the 360 is a next gen title. I'll tell you what they've done. They've ported this one straight across to the Xbox 360. Everything about the game is exactly the same as you could play on the normal Xbox or on the PS2, except for the fact the player models have really been upped. They've really made them high definition. If you've got a high definition TV and you sort of squint your eyes slightly, it does look like you're watching actual live basketball gameplay. So for people that are into their basketball games, you're going to absolutely love the fact that it looks like real TV. Having said that, it is a standard basketball game. How many people are into basketball? Are you into basketball, Kate?
Not really. I mean, that's how I was just about to ask you, are all the teams and players licensed? But then again, would we know the difference?
Exactly, would we? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, they have got licensed teams in there, and there's even a 24/7 mode where you can take your famous player, you can give him new clothes, give him extra bling, a new car, check out his pad, that sort of stuff, whether
Pimp
you're
my player.
west side or east side. Yeah, pimp my player. So there's that whole lifestyle side of it, if you do like that sort of thing. New to the actual game itself, when you're taking shots, you can now use the right analog stick to actually do shots and cool things like 360s in mid-air when you're slam dunking, that sort of stuff. And if you're actually trying to get the ball off somebody, they've got a thing called strip and rip. Doesn't that sound American?
It sounds a bit...
It does sound aggressive, doesn't it? Dennis Rodman, going back to him. Strip and rip basically means that you can use a right analog stick to knock the ball away, and you can choose where you knock it from. So if someone's guarding it, you can actually get around there and get in. It's a good game. I mean, it's the best basketball game on the Xbox 360. However, is that saying much? Because there aren't that many on there at the moment. Do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean, Jelly Bean. Get the picture, Dolly Mixture, understand rubber band, get the implement. What are you going to give it?
Okay, that was a lot of jargon, wasn't it? My word. It's good. It's a very solid basketball game, but it's a direct port. So, for that alone, they should have done even more with the Xbox 360, really. I'm going to give it... You know, I'm going to be really mean and give it a 6 again. Good, but again, could try harder. I'm not impressed today with these games.
Must try harder. I'm going to give it a 5. Again, must try harder, just because, as you say, it's been very much kind of drag and click, in terms of exporting it across.
Yes.
Like indeed. A drag, maybe. That's what I meant.
Yes. Sorry, that PC term completely threw me.
Understood in my head. Now, Matt, you've ridden a few bikes in your time, haven't you?
What are you saying?
I was playing Jack this week. And it combines everything. It combines, you know, bikers' favourite things, fighting and biking and fighting. I think it's quite mediocre, though, as a game.
Do you know what? I played this game and I thought, great, it's going to be like Road Rash. Now, I remember Road Rash. You got to hit people with a chain while you're on a bike.
Yeah, it's like that.
That was always good fun. It looks absolutely dreadful.
It does. Some things can be said for it. You can play over several different types of terrain. You can play in the city, you can play in the desert, and also you can pick up all sorts of different weapons and have all sorts of funs like that. Like you can even pick up like a traffic meter and use that as a weapon.
That sounds quite good, actually.
Why not?
Quite happy.
Also a baseball bat, a crowbar, and you are in this game very much encouraged to kind of batter your opponents off their bikes. So in fact, if you don't, you can't power charge your bike.
Okay, and that means you can zoom off into the distance.
Yeah, if you don't do that, because you have to
like street
do that, exactly. Now the other thing that you can do in this game is you can nick your opponent's bike once you've thrown them off.
Oh, okay.
And if you manage to win the race on that bike, you then get to keep that in your garage.
Oh, so it's basically stealing other people's bikes as well.
Yeah, a bit like Gone in 60 Seconds, except that was cars and not bikes. So no, it is good. I enjoyed it. The other thing that's quite good about this, you can change all sorts of things like the acceleration and the speed and all sorts of different things on your bikes, different modifications, which is pretty good.
At first I found it a bit tricky to get to grips with because the bike's very twitchy. If you played MotoGP, you're probably going to think the same. You've got to get used to riding a motorbike instead of a car. However, the graphics on this are appalling. Like, this looks like a PlayStation 1 game, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Once you get over that initial fact though, there is some fun there, but you said Gone in 60 seconds, you're probably going to stop playing this game in 60 seconds. I don't think, in my opinion, I remember Road Rash, those heady days, this isn't as good as that.
When I was being in Anorak this week, I actually did do a bit of research, and I saw that the release date of this kept on getting put further and further back, and I do wonder, is that something to do with the fact that the game's not very good?
Sometimes a good sign, if they're really polishing it and just saying we won't release this, it's done when it's done, they say sometimes a bad sign, because that actually means that, people have stopped funding it and that sort of stuff, and eventually they bring it out and they think, why did we bother? What are you going to give it, Kate?
I'm going to give it a 3.
I'm going to give it a 4. I think it is below average, and especially if you're paying full price for a game. If you want a bike game, get a MotoGP game because it looks better and you've got licensed tracks. That's unless you want to hit people around the head with a crowbar, then go and get this. Kate, I'm exhausted. Are we done yet?
Not quite, because we still have to remind our lovely viewers out there how they can enter this week's Gamers Competition.
On this week's Gamers Competition, you could win a PS2 and a copy of Ford Street Racing by answering this lovely simple question. Which of these cars is a Ford? Is it A, Fiesta, B, Party, or C, Sleepover? Just text gamers plus your answer, A, B or C, to 63222. Good luck.
Okay, that's almost it for this week, but of course there's a little bit of business to take care of. We have to tot up the scores on the doors and tell you that this week's Gamers Game of the Week is...
Gamers Game of the Week. Catchy title, that, isn't it, Kate?
I think so. It's Chicken Little with 15 points.
Oh, he's a little chicken.
He's so cute. It's been quite a low-scoring week this week.
It has. The reason that scored out so highly is because it's a great game, good platform game, and there's loads of mini-games, loads of fun and variety. I thought it was great, even though it's for kids. That's probably saying something, isn't it? Right, it is time to wrap up for this week. Don't forget, if you want to visit the forums, you can chat about all things gaming, anything on and off topic. Until next week, bye-bye. Loving your work, Kate. Now don't forget guys, next week Gamers, along with the rest of Rapture, is moving house.
That's right, you can now find us on channel 193 on your Sky Digital, so come and join us.
We'll see you there.
The week ahead on Rapture.
Monday.
Work up a sweat at 9 with Heat Personal Fitness, then cool down with Inside Hollywood at 9:30.
Tuesday.
Gadgets and gizmos galore at 7 on Innovate, followed by Matt and Kate on Gamers at 7:30 and Anime Action at 8:30.
Wednesday.
Bringing you the best movies and DVDs, That Film shows at 7 o'clock and catch Rapture's midweek movie at 9 p.m.
Thursday.
Top-rated anime series Wolf's Reign is at 8:30, then we expose the White Isle that is Ibiza at 9 p.m.
Friday.
3 hours of urban flavours kicks off the weekend from 3 o'clock. We then up the BPM with Dance Selector from 6, then join Steve Sutherland, Lucy Ambash and artists including 50 Cent, Sean Paul and Shaggy on Groove TV at 9 o'clock.
Saturday.
We have Cinema, That Film Show, Innovate, Gamers, followed by a whole afternoon of extreme sport. And at 9 p.m, it's our big Saturday movie.
Sunday.
We bring you the Sunday Rewind. That Film Show, Gamers, Full Metal Alchemist, Wolf's Reign and Groove TV every Sunday. You're watching Rapture TV on channel 288.
Hello, Cybernet's back with me, Steve Truitt. Today we'll become a snowboarding legend, play some online games, fight with a Devil King, and meet the mysterious Blood Rain. It's the All-Star Cybernet. We slide into this week's program with one of the cool new titles created exclusively for the Xbox 360 console. So strap on your boots, because it's time to hit the snow-covered mountainside with Amped 3. Unlike the SSX snowboarding series that's always emphasized outrageous acrobatics, the Amped franchise has been much more realistic. However, for the latest edition, the developers designed a whole new physics engine, producing a more arcade-style experience with a slew of extreme sports stunts. In the career mode, you'll create your own character and then take to 7 huge mountains to complete various challenges like jumping through floating colored hoops. Novices will appreciate the vastly simplified controls, so it's now easier to go crazy on the slopes. But that doesn't mean you won't be challenged. To progress, you'll need to pull off a staggering amount of moves like grinding on rails, reverse corkscrews, and indie grabs.
You have succeeded. Your mind will now be receptacle to the awesomeness that surrounds us.
Not surprisingly, since the game was created specifically for the 360, the visuals are outstanding. Character animations are smooth, and there are also some dazzling graphical effects. One of the best features is triggered when you maximize the awesomeness meter. When it reaches the peak, you can use trigger buttons to shred snow for the ultimate in deluxe maneuvers. As you progress through the unusually strange story, which even requires you to wear a bunny suit, you'll unlock new tricks, challenges, and types of snowboards. Upgrading your character with top-of-the-line equipment provides plenty of motivation to succeed. Adding to the package, you can build your very own snow park and even ride on a snowmobile. In trying to become more like the SSX series, AMP3 stumbles a bit, primarily because the controls aren't as responsive as we'd like. Turning through wide turns feels loose, and even when you grind on rails, it's kind of like floating on air. Happily, there are a slew of extras, including a great soundtrack and multiplayer modes. It's not a stellar release, but AMP still provides plenty of snowboarding thrills for 360 owners. Are you having trouble decimating the dangerous gangsters in 50 Cent Bulletproof on the PlayStation 2? Well, Cybernet's got your back with a cheat to give you some real firepower. During the game, go to the menu options and select Cheats, then enter the code Got Them Ratchets. That's GOTTHEMRACHET and S. We've just given you every weapon in the game. That's right, now you have a full arsenal to take on all the slimy miscreants of the criminal underworld. Good luck and stay tuned to Cybernet for more hard-hitting cheats. Disney has scored a major hit with their latest animated film, Chicken Little, and now this lovable bird is coming to your Game Boy Advance. Here you play as the little chicken running and hopping through the town of Okie Oaks. It's your goal to explore all 12 levels, ultimately saving your town from dangerous alien invaders. There are a few big moves to execute, such as swinging a yo-yo and performing big body slams. Also, you can transform into your alter ego, Commander Ace, shooting and crushing objects with ease. Adding to the fun are a few mini-games. You can hop in a fast car and compete in a variety of races, or play a hilarious game of dodgeball on 6 different courts. Chicken Little manages to be one of the best-made GBA licensed titles in recent years. Great controls, engaging levels, and loads of humor taken right from the movie combine to make this game shine. Although it's not very complex, it really doesn't need to be. There's plenty of entertaining fun that will have young gamers eager for more. Just try to keep from falling in the water. Over the years, the Castlevania series has appeared on multiple systems ranging from the NES all the way to the PS2. And now the legendary franchise is back, making its debut on the Nintendo DS in Dawn of Sorrow. In this side-scrolling action platformer, you assume the role of Soma Cruz in a story that picks up directly after Aria of Sorrow on the GBA. When a mysterious cult threatens to resurrect Dracula, it's your goal to defeat these foes before their mission is complete. One of the most unique aspects here is gaining the souls of fallen enemies. These souls can be used to upgrade swords and axes, or learn moves such as double jumping and swimming underwater. Graphically, the characters and environments are excellent, especially during the imposing boss battles. Plus, like previous editions, there's a tremendous haunting soundtrack. Overall, the gameplay here is outstanding, making Dawn of Sorrow one of the best Castlevania titles ever released. Both fans and casual gamers will have plenty of reasons to rejoice. Now get out there and slice up a few monsters. Okay, it's time for Cybernet's first ever Top 10 Xbox 360 Games chart. At number 10, morph into a fearsome fire dragon or an ice yeti in the mystical adventure Cameo Elements of Power. Grab the wheel and put the pedal to the floor with the high-intensity action of Ridge Racer 6 racing into the 9th spot. Join an elite squad of Marines at number 8 and battle against the Strogg in the fearsome shooter Quake 4. At 7, use your instincts to track a deadly serial killer in the psychological thriller Condemned: Criminal Origins. Outrun the police and your competitors in Need for Speed Most Wanted: Burning Up the Track at number 6. Take to the pitch at number 5 and lead your favorite national team all the way to World Cup victory in FIFA 06. Become the ultimate secret agent and uncover a global conspiracy in Perfect Dark Zero, sneaking in at number 4. At 3, scale the cliffs of the French coast or trek across the sands of North Africa in the epic World War II shooter Call of Duty 2. Zooming into second place, speed through the streets of New York or Tokyo in the visually stunning Project Gotham Racing 3. But it's the martial arts mayhem of Dead or Alive 4 that checks in as our number 1 Xbox 360 game. Well, now that you know the hottest Xbox 360 games on the market, here's a whole new reason to enjoy the world's newest gaming console. We've got some 360 tips and titles that you won't find in any store. So let's go online to show you the great stuff Microsoft has put on their Xbox Live service. On the previous Xbox console, you could download new game content and find opponents all over the world. With the 360, a whole new element has been added called the Marketplace. Here you can download trailers to upcoming and already released titles and even get playable demos so you can try a game before you buy it. The currency used here is called Microsoft Points, which can be purchased or won by participating in online events. Though you don't need points to download demos and trailers, you can use them to buy Xbox Live Arcade games, which are some of the system's best titles. There are plenty of originals available, such as Wick and the Fable of Souls and Marble Blast Ultra. For those who crave puzzles more than action, there's Bejeweled 2, as well as the newest title from the creator of Tetris called Hexic HD. You can download demos for all these with the option to spend more points to download the full version. One of the best games we found was Geometry Wars Retro Evolved, which is actually the sequel to a minigame from the Project Gotham Racing series. As you can see, the graphics are awesome and are backed by a great soundtrack. However, the premier title, which has most enthralled the Cybernet office, is Zuma, a puzzle challenge much like the Bust a Move series. Though it may look simplistic, there's literally hours of fun to be had here. Lastly, Microsoft has stocked the marketplace with several hits that older gamers will likely be excited about. Arcade favorites such as Gauntlet, Smash TV, and even Joust have made a return and look even better than they did 20 years ago. All these games prove that the Xbox 360 has something for everyone. So stay tuned to Cybernet and see what other innovations this console has to offer. Coming up, we ride with the Devil Kings, solve a baffling mystery, and fight with a beautiful vampire.
When it comes to extreme sport,
anime, film and manga. All the best DVDs, games and books reviewed every issue. Plus exclusive interviews, features and competitions. Join the UK's biggest anime and manga forum at neomag.co.uk. Neo Magazine, available at WH Smith, HMV and all good news agents. Or subscribe at www.neomag.co.uk.
We begin the second half with a trip to a fictitious world where superpowered warriors and massive armies clash on the field of battle. There are lands to be conquered and rivals to be challenged. So get ready for plenty of high-flying, sword-swinging action in Devil Kings exploding onto the PlayStation 2. In this classic sword and sorcery adventure, you take control of one of 6 army generals. These range from the demon-possessed Devil King to your rival, a huge horned warrior known as the Red Minotaur. Your goal is total domination of the country, which can only be achieved by overwhelming your enemy's defenses with troops. As for the visuals, it's worth noting that while the game resembles medieval Japan, nothing here is based on real characters or historical battles. Anyone familiar with the Dynasty Warriors action series will relate to this title. You basically run towards large groups of soldiers with your heroes and start attacking as fiercely as possible. By organizing strategic strikes at key enemy bases, you can turn the tide of battle for your army. Sadly, like other third-person army titles, your team's soldiers have terrible AI and typically won't be able to defeat enemies on their own. This means you'll spend much of your time running between battles, helping to tip the scales in your favor. On the plus side, all of your heroes have gargantuan Fury Drive moves that unleash huge blasts to annihilate large groups of soldiers. You acquire these moves by completing successful combos and destroying enemy troops. There are also a wide variety of weapons at your disposal, such as swords, spears, pistols, and shotguns. Additionally, there are elemental power-ups you can acquire to give your weapons some added punch. This becomes useful when trying to take down huge swarms of rival troops. Our favorite aspect of the game are the awesome cutscenes produced in both 2D and 3D animation to propel the story along. They're all done very well and add a whole new aspect to the characters. On the downside, the voice acting is pretty bad and could have been better. So while Devil Kings is really nothing new, it's still a fun little ride on the wild side. Are you finding it difficult to survive the onslaught of cute and cuddly assailants in Raises Hell on the Xbox? Well, Cybernet just might have a cheat that will turn the tables for you. During the game, hold down the left trigger and enter the code A, B, B, Y, Y, A, and X. You have no need to fear your enemies now because you've been given infinite health. Now get out there and show your enemies who's boss. And keep it tuned to Cybernet for more life-saving cheats. Our next title brings the macabre world of Agatha Christie to your PC. On a cold, rainy night, things have gone horribly wrong, and you're the only one who can discover the truth in And Then There Were None. In this whodunit thriller, you assume the role of Patrick Narracott, a visitor to a dinner party in which 10 strangers have been invited under suspicious circumstances. When a series of murders begin to occur, it's your goal to unravel the mystery and reveal the killer. As each murder takes place, you spend the majority of your time searching for clues to the mystery. When you begin your amateur detective work, it's important to search every room thoroughly since most of the game's solutions are rarely obvious.
Have you anything to say in your defense?
There's plenty of exploration that needs to be done in order to advance. Throughout the house and island, you must collect as many items as you can since they can be used in later portions of the game. Additionally, you'll come across environmental puzzles from opening safety deposit boxes to cracking a combination lock. Even though you have to travel back and forth around the actual island a few times, the most interesting moments occur within the house. But though you can interact with the various house guests, these conversations unfortunately don't bring you any closer to discovering the murderer. However, the talks do drive the plot forward. Graphically, the visuals feel a bit dated, but the game's spooky soundtrack provides a brooding and dreadful atmosphere. Overall, the engaging gameplay of And Then There Were None manages to make this game adaptation of a classic novel enthralling.
May I ask you a question? Not now, man. Can't you see we're busy?
Our Game of the Week is a sci-fi adventure set in a galaxy far, far away. One of the best-selling Star Wars games released over the past few years was Battlefront. And now this space combat saga returns in a stunning new sequel on the PC, Xbox, and PS2. Battlefront 2 includes 3 single-player modes: Instant Action, Galactic Quest, and the primary story called Rise of the Empire. It centers on Darth Vader's personal stormtroopers, the famed 501st Cloned Infantry Division. Along with controlling a squad member, you'll also play as a Jedi and other popular characters like Yoda and General Grievous. It's a much bigger experience than the previous release, with open-ended mission-based objectives that take you to famous locations from all 6 Star Wars films. You'll destroy droids in the Battle of Hoth, wield a lightsaber on the Death Star, and fire blasters on Geonosis. And you'll do so with a fantastic weapon selection. Plus, you can summon the power of the Force for real excitement. While the game includes a greater variety of ground and air vehicles, the major upgrade here is the plethora of new starships. You'll partake in galactic battles while piloting X-Wings, TIE Fighters, and Jedi Interceptors. What's cool is that during combat you can land, disengage from your ship, and then attack on foot. All these options are made even better during the massive online mega battles.
The rebels have foolishly dropped the flag.
Battlefront 2 is technically impressive, with fantastic visuals that benefit from improved AI. Its only major shortcoming is that the shooting mechanics still aren't as solid as other games like Halo or SOCOM. Overall, though, the stellar online modes make this among the best Star Wars games ever. The movies may be finished for now, but the battle against the Empire rages on.
Score 1 for the Empire.
I am finished, my master.
We close out our show with the return of the voluptuous vampire BloodRayne, who's back for more maniacal mischief in a sequel for the PC, Xbox, and PS2. When we last saw BloodRayne, it was 1935, and she was up to her fangs in Nazi scum. This follow-up jumps ahead to the modern era, giving our heroine a whole new set of enemies to sink her teeth into. Before her evil father's death, he spawned a host of blood-sucking offspring who plan on creating a new era of vampire supremacy. So it's up to Rayne to rid the world of her bloodthirsty siblings. BloodRayne's extraordinary powers are the result of her being a Damphir. That's half human, half vampire for you not in the know. Because of this unholy union and the fact she's a trained agent, this luscious lady is able to pull off some amazing maneuvers and death-defying feats.
I think some of the hallmarks of the series are definitely the acrobatic combat, and you're going to see a lot more of that in the sequel. We've integrated pole combat. She can hang upside down and shoot. She can slide down rails and use her blades.
Along with her revamped set of moves, Rain has a fantastic selection of weapons and fighting techniques at her disposal. This girl can pretty much do it all. Punch, kick, bite, and fire guns. And of course, with her lethal blades, she can decimate nearly anything and anyone that gets in her way.
It's all about combat, so the fast-paced blade movements, we wanted to just make that more intensive for the gamer, and motion capture has allowed us to do that. All of the enemies, most of them are motion captured, and of course there's certain movements that have to be animated, so it's a mixture of both, but you can see a lot more force in her blade movements and swipes as a result of that.
The developers at Terminal Reality have crafted the environments with a modified graphics engine that displays cool gothic imagery, lifelike physics, and real-time shadows. They're extremely detailed and interactive. And when you use your special chain harpoon to toss items, nearly everything can be broken or blown up. You can also take advantage of special abilities, allowing you to see through walls or slow down time. And when you unleash your devastating blood rage powers, you become nearly impervious to harm. Of course, sometimes snacking on your foe is the best way to get your point across. Although this edition improves upon the original in nearly every way, there are still some sticky points. The combat does get slightly repetitive, so you often repeat the same set of moves over and over. Plus, the camera can be woefully erratic, and nobody likes to see characters smash into scenery and stick into walls.
That's gonna
On the plus side, the controls are much more solid, and the physics engine creates a smoother experience. Blood Rain 2 might be a bit too straightforward, but it's still a stylish and gory adventure.
You're right about one thing. It's definitely time for you to go.
It's hard to argue with the ladies, so I guess that means it's time for us to go as well. We promise to be back soon, though, with more great game reviews. Don't forget to keep in touch via email. So, until next time, here's more incredible imagery from Prince of Persia, The Two Thrones, Compliments of Cybernet.